Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about The Expanse, Season 1, Episodes 9 and 10. They're called Critical Mass and Leviathan Wakes. It is the double season finale of Season 1. We've been catching up, and we've finally come to the end of this journey. So we're going to talk about both episodes, full spoilers, as always, on our reviews, so let's get into it. I will say this, there's a couple of things that I was expecting them to get to in the finale, that now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, huh, we never actually saw the ship from the UN arrive at the Ditko.
Yeah, and we were convinced that was going to happen. I
It
think
was.
we mentioned it last time.
It's because the episode before, it's like, oh, they're coming in 2 days. Oh, perfect, right? So that's building up.
And especially with the way that this show's been paced, where it always sets something up and then it's typically the next episode that it gets addressed.
No, it left a lot of things ready to go for season
Did.
2. Yeah,
Which
that's
leaves me excited because I kind of have a vague idea of what to expect going in now.
yeah. Like I think, as much as I would have preferred to watch it last year when it was coming out week to week, I'm also not that upset that I don't have to wait a whole year after this episode.
Yes, because this was very much, just come and find out next year.
Yeah. Sneaky bastards. It definitely felt like a two-part finale because the way the whole thing starts with seeing Julie's side of the story, which I
Yeah.
thought was a really great way to open because it was like, by this point we've kind of put together all the pieces ourselves, the two ships, the Anubis, the all of the ships, what they were intervening, why she was there, she was working with the OPA, how she was captive, she got out from the start, and that was the first scene in the show. We've kind of pieced it all together by this point, but this was no. Here it is. You get to see it in real time, well, not real time, but you know what I mean. And
Yeah.
chronological order. Here it is.
I also like that because you could maybe argue these are two separate episodes, but this is one of the things that most makes it feel like a two-parter to me, because that then we have this is what we started the show with. We started the show by seeing her, so then we end the season by seeing her as well. Like we have that cyclical link there.
Yeah, it's like a bookend, but even if it wasn't what we'd seen at the start, it kind of reminds me of something that a lot of finales do. If there's a mystery all season, the finale just starts with it at the start.
Yeah, and it's like, right, let's get this out in the open and deal with the consequences of it.
Yeah, so it very much feels like a double finale, and so that's good. So I thought all that Julie stuff at the start was great to see. Added a lot of context to what was going on and seeing her escape and get to the room. And it was not new information, but because we've been piecing it together all season, to just see it play out was actually very satisfying.
It was.
So no, that's good. So obviously we come back into where we left off. Holden, the crew, Miller with her in the room. Other cops are showing up. Well, I say cops. It seems to be more company men, or
Yes.
this party, this fourth party that we've been hinting at all season. And let's talk about what we learn about them first. I think then.
Not enough.
Really, you think that enough?
I mean, there's plenty there, don't get me wrong, but I still want more.
Oh yeah, but I feel fairly satisfied with the finale revelation that they are from Earth.
Yeah, I mean, but then it starts to question that as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, it answers what Johnson recognised. Cause the one scene we get with him is that he puts out this message saying, "Oh, the UN are coming to arrest me, but here's the truth. I'm broadcasting this video. Here's schematics of these ships and their drives. It was made on Earth. This is an Earth-made ship."
Yeah.
And even Avasarala on Earth, she realises that she is being shut out, that there's a conspiracy, and she plays along because she kind of gets the sense that she will probably be killed, much like her friend, the ambassador, who seems like it was made to look like suicide. That's what it
Yeah.
feels like now. And she's going to play along with that. So certainly it seems to be a faction of Earth
Seems to be.
that is
I'm not
responsible.
convinced for sure.
You're not convinced for sure.
I feel like ever since they didn't kill Havelock way back in like what episode 3, I don't trust this show anymore with what it presents to me as what this should be what it is
Interestingly, we've not seen Havelock since
pretty much then.
the hospital stuff.
Yeah.
Is the last time we've seen Havelock.
I noticed it as I was saying it. I was like, huh, he kind of just disappeared. He really did. They might as well have killed him because he still fulfilled his role either way.
You say that, he could pop in.
He could.
I feel like what if he's actually a double agent for this party? Well, what if he
that's true.
reveals him to be that and he shows up in this season? the next season. So that could be cool. But yeah, so that was the sort of the main thing we learned about them, is that they seem to be from Earth, and the ships at the very least were built on Earth. And their end goal here on the Eros station, which is kind of the bulk of the main plot here, is that they release this virus, this bioweapon, into the station to analyze what it does with this amount of people to
and
take
it's
over.
they say they want it to learn.
Yeah, it's a learning organism.
This is the most exciting
Yeah.
part.
So clearly the Phoebe station, they did a similar thing, but it was smaller. Maybe I'll say 100 crew or something like that on there.
Yeah, this is clearly just a much bigger scale of what they were already doing.
Whereas this is thousands and thousands of people, and they want to see what happens when it's thousands and thousands of people. So it's a very action-packed double episode. It's basically the crew trying to get off the Euro station as the virus is spreading, and the company men and the local police, who are actually ex-gang, who have been kind of planted so they can control them, and then basically just discard them when the time comes,
pretty much
by this third party. And there's a lot of Holden and Miller get separated, and they're together, and they also get radiation poisoning, and they're sort of trying to deal with that throughout, and they get back to the ship because the ship has meds that can deal with it because they have the technology, but it's on the ship.
Yeah, I expect nothing less.
So they have to get back to the ship, whereas the rest of the crew are a little bit ahead of them, but they're travelling through the tunnels trying to get to the ship. So there's a lot of trying to get to the ship is the gist of the episode. A lot of sneaking around,
little gunfights.
A lot of gunfights. I enjoyed these episodes. I do think that it's not as good as maybe some of the highlights of the season, where I would say maybe 1, 4, and 8 would be my 10.
I think I'd agree.
Episodes.
I think it did action, but it wasn't the space action of the other stuff.
It wasn't the space action. I got really excited when they got to the ship and they had to break out the clamps and all that. Yeah, that was good.
I think the reason it's not maybe as amazing is it's very much just what it has to do almost for the end of the season to we've got this mystery, and now this is all this stuff that you can look forward to coming next. So it leaves me excited for season 2, but at the same time, it wasn't entirely amazing in and of itself.
Yeah. I think it was a really fun 2-parter, and it was really action-packed, tense, and very, very sort of not quite Die Hard-esque, but kind of that whole, it's in one location, they're working their way through to get to the exit, and there's some fun stuff along the way. Good bonding stuff between Miller and Holden, and them kind of sort of realizing who each other are.
Yeah, one of my favorite moments is when Holden shoots the guy, and he is just completely paralyzed. He's horrified at what he's done, and Miller just kind of expects that he should just be able to take this in his stride because of the reputation that he's got.
Yeah, from the can and all this.
Yeah.
So that was some good growth there, and seeing them play off each other, and presumably they're going to be linked in season 2. It seems like it may be going that way, unless they drop Miller off because he wants to go and investigate something.
It's possible.
We're going. Okay, we're going to take these people down. I'm going to go and investigate this here, kind of thing. Whilst they go off and do space adventures.
If they do that, I'd almost expect them to leave someone with Miller though, for him to play off.
Oh, maybe I can see that. But even if they don't, I can see them being in constant communication this time though.
Yeah, and working together actively
throughout the season. So that could be a really nice change in dynamics. Speaking of character stuff, Amos is Amos is so screwed in the head. I don't know what even.
I kind of love him.
Because he's doing this thing where you think he's kind of on edge, and he is on edge, but because of that moment where Miller's partner from Eros,
Sematimba,
whose name you're going to tell, Sematimba, he does that whole thing with, no, we're not waiting for your Holden, we're going. He holds a gun up to Nagata, and Amos kind of seems to agree with him.
Yeah. And
he walks off screen to do what he said, and then he just shoots him from behind. He's like,
I loved it.
I mean, that was good. He's like, you say we wait, boss, we wait. And it's almost this weird thing where he's almost just a mindless soldier for now. He's
so relaxed about it as well.
Yeah.
I love the parallel between him and Holden. Obviously, when we see Holden shoot someone, and he's just so horrified, and it's just like, whatever I gotta do.
And then you've got Miller kind of in the middle, who's sort of disgruntled, but he's sort of used to doing it when he needs to.
He does what he has to, but he
Yeah.
doesn't enjoy it. Whereas Amos is just like, nah, whatever, I don't care.
To a fault almost, because there's that bit when they're in the pachinko arcade, and Miller's like, well, let's start fighting through them. He's about to go out with his guns blazing. He's like, no, let's check the rest of the room, find out if there's another exit.
Yeah.
It's like, I suppose that's maybe the smart move.
I like that scene as well. It's a very cliche scene almost, where the guy's there and they're hiding under the machines.
It's well done though, because the guy notices Holden and then Miller grabs him from behind, and it's a very.
It is.
Yeah, and it's
actually very well directed. That.
Yeah, so that's another moment where Holden and his humanity he's realizing he's helping kill someone. You see him like he's struggling to hold him because they need to hold him, but as the guy's dying, you can see that in his face that he's struggling with what's going on. So we get obviously another big thing with the party though is seemingly high up in the ranks is Julie's father.
Yeah.
It's almost like the OPA or Julie herself knew about what was going on to an extent, or knew that there was something to investigate because of that connection. And we actually see him in the flesh. He shows up on Earth at the end.
Yeah, which makes you wonder, which is one of those things that makes you think maybe it is an Earth faction. But at the same time, it's, I don't know, like, are they doing it on... Even though he is clear like an Earther, we know that. And
well, I
he's
don't get more
involved.
than that. The woman, the guy who works with Avasarala all the time,
Yeah.
he's clearly in on it as well.
Yeah. But what I mean is it on like the authority of Earth, or is it just something that they're doing as their own entity? Like, you know how the OPA isn't a planetary embodiment.
I was never arguing one way or the other.
Well, no, but I think like I can't remember his name, Avasarala's friend that we're talking about here.
That's friend's always term, but
well, yeah, okay, but he's UN, right?
Yeah.
So I was wondering maybe if it is like actually like something that the government is doing, just like a covert.
I don't think we know that one way or the other at this point.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely from Earth. I don't know if it's officially the government sanctioning it, or if it's another party on Earth that has infiltrated the government and is using some government officials like him to enact it. I don't know which one it is, but it does.
At which point is why I'm questioning: is this Earth, or is it? Do you have to class it as this separate thing altogether, like the OPA?
Well, you would, but I don't think that negates the fact that it's Earth. It's a faction from Earth. It's Earthers that are doing it.
All right, yeah.
I think that's not. Is that what you were getting at earlier when you said you weren't wanting to commit to it?
Yeah. I'm not entirely sure it's just Earthers. Like,
it could be some weird alliance between people from Earth and Mars, for all we know. But it's definitely people from Earth. Definitely high up people on Earth are running the show.
From Earth involved.
Yeah, running the show, I would argue.
Yeah.
At this point, because Julie's dad is like, he's upset she's dead when he finds out, but he's like, nah, right, do it.
Yeah, he's very much one of the head honchos.
Yeah, he's like, yeah. Infect the station. Let's see what this does. Let's watch it learn. Let's talk about the bioweapon then.
The thing, because I don't know what else to call it at this point. Because god damn, it's cool.
And it's funny actually, because obviously we see the spy from the previous couple of episodes. He runs into Holden, and Holden, learning from his past mistakes and dealing with him and being too soft, does kind of like, no, you're not coming with us. And he fires like shot. He doesn't shoot him, but he fires shots to scare him and make him go the other direction, to show that he's not playing ball. And the last scene of the episode is the spy on the ship himself. I'm like, oh, he's still here. Oh, I wonder what we're going to see with him. And it's funny thing is, the episodes were getting so quick, and this is a compliment.
You didn't realise it was the end.
Yeah, this is a compliment to the episodes here, and the direction and the pacing and how much I was into it. As I didn't realise we were at the end of the episode.
Well, I also think that is maybe a little bit of a negative in the sense that it feels like there should have been more still, like after, which obviously is because it's coming in season 2.
Well, they went with the cliffhanger climax as opposed to the roundy climax. But at the same time, this season was clearly the story and mystery of Julie and why she was on that ship.
It was, and we got that answer.
And it completed that story.
Hard to complain in that sense.
And it opened up new things because it went to her father. Because now it's almost like, yeah, we've seen him on the video message or whatever throughout the season, but it's like, no, it's only now that we've answered that we go up higher up the food chain. Yeah, so it finished that story. So yeah, that's last scene. Last scene in the space station in Eros. I call it a space station. It's actually like inside an asteroid. They've built it.
Yeah, I think all the stations, like the big ones, are they not? Ceres is kind of a big asteroid station.
Was it?
I thought I got the impression it was because they were like under the rock. Like it looks like tunnels in the rock.
It didn't. This one stood out to me though because every time they cut to a wide shot of it, it was like a peanut-looking asteroid all the time, with just like the
It
ports at the
was.
side.
Yeah. Whereas maybe Ceres is just bigger and they didn't cut out that far.
That's fair. But yeah, so he's on the station, and we see like the glow. It's almost like this thing, because there's so many people for it to grow and learn and infect from, that there's these little specks of light, these little blue embers of light, and you know it's coming from it because we've seen it glow. We know it's going to be
Yeah, it's
that.
very clearly this is the thing.
And he's coming around the corner, and it forms people. It forms like out of these specks of light. It forms almost like hologram-esque human shapes of people,
Yeah.
possibly even of someone that he knows. Like I don't know if he's recognizing someone or if he's just shocked at what he's seeing.
But I got the impression that it was one person moving around. Because do you ever see more than one at once?
Oh no,
Because you
don't
see
know.
it like shift, don't you?
Yeah, it
so I got the
shifts.
impression maybe this was the thing. Like it had almost like it was trying to make itself a body.
All right. Well, you may be right. The way I was kind of reading it was that it starts off as a more indistinct, and then it was clearly a woman in the second time it appeared, or the final time it appeared. And I was thinking if it was reading him, like it was trying to like form someone he recognised. So the first time it was less accurate, and then
It could be.
then the second time it was like, oh, this is someone he might actually recognize, like his wife, or because he mentioned that family multiple times.
He did.
So the second time, or the final time, I should say, really, because it was like a few times it reappeared.
Yeah.
The final time, maybe it was his wife, because it was clearly a woman the last time.
Yeah.
And I was wondering if that was what it was doing, if it was trying to read him, and it was learning like they said it would. And then, of course, it ends with the giant hand of it coming down and pulling him up, and that's a big final moment.
Yeah. And that is cool.
That is cool.
And then it kind of pans up and you just see it all the way up there, and it's like, damn, this thing's impressive.
It's super sci-fi, it's super... And it's like, okay, right, so we're really opening this up in Season 2. And it's funny, because I think earlier on in the season, I would have maybe, like, is Avasarala more of an antagonist compared to the other heroes on the show? But getting into Season 2, it really feels like they're all on the same side. They're all...
Yeah, it feels like she's their Earth connection.
Yeah, they've not encountered her yet, and I'd imagine they might cross paths in Season 2 in some way. But
Yeah.
it seems like she's going to be fighting the same fight in a different sort of battleground.
Yeah, it does feel that way.
Yeah, more espionage and trying to... Because she even says that scene with her husband where she's... Yeah, I'll play the role. I'll be a day behind and play my part. And she'll try and do what she can from within. But, no. So, I think it sets up a lot of cool things for Season 2. It introduces some new characters. It gives us... The team are still on the ship. Obviously, Holden and Miller get out in time. There's some cool stuff along the way of them getting out, of course, where they think they're done for and the door opens. And I love that Miller hallucinates again, because he does it a couple of times where he sees Julie.
Yeah.
And it's actually Amos, and Amos is just looking there going, you look like shit. And
Yeah,
thought that was
I
really
love
funny.
that it's just him just stood there. Like, he's kind of got his head cocked a little bit. He's like, you going to get in?
Yeah. But I like it though, because obviously they're hallucinating a little bit and they're out of it because of the radiation on their meds that they're taking to try and stave it off. And they get back in the ship. There's a small moment where it implies maybe Holden and Nagata might have a blossoming...
Yeah, I would say we maybe got hints of that throughout.
They've had good chemistry throughout, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's been maybe small moments, like he confided in her right away.
Yeah.
But, you know.
And when we talked about when he opened up and she kind of jumped in and made sure he wasn't the only villain in the room, well, I knew as well, so you can be mad at me too, so the heat's not all on him.
Yeah, and you even had, I think it was episode 8, where they shared the stories.
Yeah. Just small things. If they are going that route, I can't buy it.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel super forced.
Especially when you spend all this time cramped in a small ship with, only a couple of people.
Yeah.
It feels even more natural that you're spending that much time with someone. It's, more likely.
Especially if they go about it subtly, like because here it's just kind of like they have a moment where their hands are holding, and it's just they've been through like a turmoil, and he's thanking her for not leaving. I just like if it's small things like that, it just builds, and it doesn't immediately go into, oh, let's have a sex scene and confess our love to each other.
Yeah, if it did that, I think I'd be very disappointed.
And I think given the show's pacing and the way it's handled plotline so far, I wouldn't expect it to do that.
No, I feel like it can be subtle given how, big in scale it is and all these impressive visuals. it takes a lot of time to do these subtle character moments.
Are we expecting a time jump when we go to season 2?
Yes.
How big of a time jump?
Couple of months. Maybe they've dropped Miller off with someone else and he's starting on the case. I don't think we'll have to see them drop him off if that's what the route they're going.
Yeah, I can see that. Although I can see he's getting flashbacks to the decision to drop him off or something like that
Yeah.
at some point.
Yeah, it
So
could be.
if not to that, I can see he's getting flashbacks to the UN ship hitting the Ditko.
That's the one thing that makes me think maybe not a time jump, because that feels like that'll be a big event. But I don't know. In the same way that this season started with events were already in place that we didn't necessarily see, I can see them doing the same thing with that.
Yeah. Worth mentioning, of course, the villain team, we also have this main scientist character who's kind of ruthlessly taking the samples from Julie and is the one sort of on the ground doing the stuff. So we get a bit of him. I assume we'll see more of him in season 2. Also, just something I really liked about the in the flashbacks at the start when we see Julie's kidnapped and she's taken onto their ship.
Yeah.
And we see, like, they've got a woman here who seems to be the commander, or at least high ranking, and some of these soldiers are walking around. I really like that scene because it felt like a huge deal that in episode 4 we'd seen them with their suits on, so we knew what their suits like. They looked kind of honeycomb, and we'd seen that. But just seeing them, like, with their helmets off, walking around and talking to each other, and, you know, just functioning on the ship, interacting with each other like normal people, it was like, oh, this is really interesting. Like,
It humanizes them, which before
Yeah.
they were these faceless monsters, essentially. Whereas now they have personality. They're just people trying to do something.
yeah. But it was one of those things where, because we hadn't seen it all season, like, this show's been very good with dishing out the information and withholding certain things to when it's the most impactful, I think.
Definitely.
And I think it's done a good job at that.
Yeah. I really like these last couple of episodes. I thought they were very good. Let's say not the best. I think the best ones have been almost the more contained episodes. They've been the ending of events. Whereas this one is the setup.
Yeah, that's what, oddly, the finale feels the least contained.
It does. It feels like, oh, okay, we've given you your story. Now, here's give you a tease of what's coming up. Let's blow everything wide open.
Yeah, kind of. Get action-packed episode, get all this big monster at the end, and, you know, where do we go from here? Does this bioweapon get released somewhere else? Do we? I don't know.
So this is the thing: is it a bioweapon, or are we thinking alien life form?
Huh. At this point, you know, alien life form seems like a likely thing
Yeah,
because it is so advanced and it is doing this weirder stuff.
yeah. And it feels like they found it rather than created.
Yeah, it does seem that way. Right, well, obviously it's based on a series of books, so obviously the game plan is mapped out.
Yeah.
So I'm not worried about them not knowing what they're doing.
Oh no, I wasn't worried about that. I just meant more just speculative on our end.
Yeah. It was good. It was good. It's a great first season. I'm so glad we went back and watched this. I'm looking forward to season 2.
Yeah, be a nice addition to our weekly staples.
I really like. I really love that I care about most of the characters at this point.
Yeah, because I think early on we didn't necessarily, because obviously, I mean, you never do early on, but I wasn't sure that some of them that I would grow to like.
Yeah, I think by this point, Amos is kind of a weird one because he is so different and he's unhinged. But the other three, the crew on the ship, I care about them. I care about Miller.
Yeah, I think my concern was initially they all felt, or most of them felt very cold and detached.
But
Which kind of
they grew over the season, though.
yeah. Especially when you got them kind of dumped in this short little small place altogether, they really grew off each other.
And that was partly why episode 6, where they made the choice to go out as a team back out into space and do something and try and solve the mission, where it felt like a big deal because that was them really coming together. So they really have grown throughout the season. There's been a good journey for the characters. Miller as well, of course, went through this.
Yeah, but he's gone on his own separate journey.
Yeah. So,
which I like that it's managed to have his separate journey, which is now kind of now that's converged, But Avasarala's kind of gone on. I mean, we said earlier we initially thought she was going to be an antagonist, whereas now it's very clear she is a good person, trying to do the right thing.
Yeah, because she was so harsh on her methods in the first couple episodes, it felt like it was going that way. But now it seems no, she's kind of on the right side of things. I mean, to the same extent as them, it's hard to say, but the idea that she's not cool with manufacturing a war and potentially millions of lives being lost
Yeah.
because of it and whatever
And
else.
it feels like she was only that harsh in the first place because she was so desperate to avoid it.
Yeah, she was trying to stop this from happening, but
Yeah.
here we are. We're at this juncture. So no, solid. I feel like we should have much more to talk about the finale, but it's actually pretty straightforward. It's probably the most straightforward
It probably is because it
of
is
the season.
just so much of it is just here, have some gunfights, have some fun.
How satisfying was it watching Miller almost save the guy who tried to kill Havelock and then shoots him anyway as he's running towards the elevator,
It's pretty great.
and then just turns to Holden and says, "Trust me, I had it coming."
Was.
There's a lot of threads still there for, again, ship coming to Fred Johnson.
Yeah.
That's still there. We have so many people that Miller left behind on C-Res. I think we'll go back to C-Res. I feel like there's no way we're not going back to C-Res at some point. And
No, I agree. There was too many relationships there to be severed entirely.
yeah, so I think there's so much to do. I'm excited to see what the season one had a very good structure of, this is the Julie mystery. This is the Julie mystery on the ship. I'm looking forward to seeing what the season 2
Yeah, you feel
story
they've
is.
got to have something in mind because as much as this is kind of almost not a season in the sense that they just kind of run straight into the next episode, like it doesn't have its own ending at the end of the episode. It's still got to have its own arc in top of that instead of just continuing this.
Yeah, which season 1 had very well. So
Yeah.
I would expect the same for season 2. So no, deeply looking forward to it. Yeah, I'm done. I love season
Yeah,
1.
not long that we have to wait now, so we'll look forward to that.
That's the Expanse season 1. Let us know what you thought of the season, and now that we're caught up, you can let us know what you thought of the whole thing in the comments below, like and subscribe and all that stuff. Remember, season 2 starts at the beginning of February, so come back for that, and we'll be watching along with everyone else, and theorising and analysing and whatever other ising we tend to do. So thanks very much for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.